So the story of Job is not about God trying to one up the devil. There are a total of 42 chapters in the book, and only the first two actually deal with the conversation between Satan and God. Saying that the book of Job is like a contest between God and Satan, it's like watching the first few minutes of Finding Nemo and saying it's a murder mystery. The opening scenes of the movie is a setup to get to the final scene or the resolution of that story, which is this right here. And the same is true for the book of Job. In order to understand the story, you can't look at the beginning, you have to look at the end. And for Job, the resolution happens in chapter 42, where Job answers the Lord and says, I know that you can do anything, and no plan of yours can be thwarted. You asked, who is this who conceals my counsel with ignorance? Surely I spoke about things I did not understand, things too wondrous for me to know. You said, listen now and I will speak. When I question you, you will inform me. I had heard reports about you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore, I reject my words and I'm sorry for them. I am dust and ashes. The question that the book of Job poses is, what is the reason for suffering? And the conclusion that's drawn at the end of it is that suffering is so that we might be able to see God. The human mind cannot perceive what God is doing from beginning to end. This is what Ecclesiastes 3 points out, which is also part of the wisdom literature, that He, God, has made everything appropriate or has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also put eternity in their hearts, but no one can discover the work God has done from beginning to end. And this is what Job is saying in chapter 42, where he says, no plan of yours can be thwarted. That he's speaking about things that are too wondrous for him to understand because he cannot perceive, which the previous 38 chapters go into great detail about what God exactly is up to. But it's because of the suffering, it's because of the lamenting that Job can say at the end of this, when God finally reveals himself, that I had heard reports about you, but now my eyes have seen you. In other words, what the first two chapters set up is not a contest between Satan and God, but rather God using Satan so that he might reveal himself to his people. In simpler terms, it is because of righteous suffering that we are able to know God. This is the point that Paul makes in Romans 8 when he says that I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is going to be revealed to us. Because the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it, in the hope that the creation itself will also be set free from the bondage to decay into the glorious freedom of God's children. You see, this is the frustration of the enemy of God, that whatever he attempts to do to God's people ends up backfiring on him.